no one noticed the exact moment it happened. There was no countdown, no warning from satellites or stars. Earth simply stopped spinning for 10 seconds, and the planet revealed how much of reality depended on a motion no one ever felt. The first sign was the wind. At the equator, the atmosphere did not agree to stop. Air, oceans, and everything not bolted to bedrock continued moving eastward at hundreds of meters per second. The sky screamed. Storms were born instantly as winds ripped across continents, stripping roofs, forests, and skin alike. Planes vanished from radar, flung like insects from invisible hands. The ocean surged out of its basins, not as waves but as walls, racing toward continents that had suddenly forgotten how to move. In cities, people were thrown sideways. 10 seconds felt eternal when streets became rivers of bodies and debris, all sliding east in the same terrible direction. Glass did not shatter, it sandblasted. Asphalt peeled. Steel screamed as bridges twisted under forces they were never designed to feel. In some places, mountains held. In others, nothing did. At the poles, there was silence. Those closest to the axis barely felt a thing. Snow drifted. Flags hung still. For a brief, surreal moment, people stood upright, watching distant clouds tear themselves apart along the horizon. They would later struggle to explain why they survived when entire regions elsewhere were erased. Inside the planet, the shock ran deeper. Earth's liquid core sloshed within its solid shell, like water in a suddenly halted cup. Magnetic fields convulsed. Compasses spun wildly. A pulse rippled through the crust, not quite an earthquake, not quite anything humanity had measured before. Volcanoes groaned but did not erupt, as if confused by the betrayal of motion they had relied on for billions of years. Then, just as abruptly, Earth began spinning again. The restart was worse. Everything that had been flung east now met a planet rushing beneath it. The collision was global. Oceans crashed back into new coastlines they had just carved. Winds reversed violently, snapping from one direction to the other with enough force to flatten what little remained standing. Dust darkened the sky, turning noon into twilight in minutes. And then it was over. 10 seconds. The world that remained barely resembled the one before. Maps were useless. Coastlines had been redrawn with brutal efficiency. Entire cities were gone, scraped clean or buried beneath layers of displaced earth and water. Survivors emerged into a silence that felt stunned, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. Communication returned slowly. When it did, patterns emerged that terrified everyone who understood them. The damage followed latitude like a scar. The closer you had been to the equator, the less chance you had ever had. People asked the same question everywhere. Why didn't we fly off into space? Scientists answered with shaking voices. Gravity had not failed. The planet had not broken its bond with its people. It had simply reminded them that motion was the only thing keeping familiar forces gentle. Spin was not optional. It was mercy. In the weeks that followed, humanity changed. No one joked about feeling the earth move anymore. Children were taught, early and carefully, that the ground beneath their feet was not still, it was obedient. Governments stopped arguing about whether the planet was fragile. Fragile things do not erase cities in seconds. Memorials were built along new shorelines, often far inland from where the sea used to be. People stood at these edges, watching waves settle into unfamiliar patterns, knowing the water remembered something the land did not. And sometimes late at night, survivors swore they could feel it, a faint hum beneath their feet. Not fear exactly, but awareness. The planet was spinning again. And for 10 seconds, everyone had learned what it meant if it ever decided not to.